Today, we will be tackling the over and underachieving Flames forward here on Locked On Flames.
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Locked On Flames. As always, I am your host, Jess Belmosto, and thank you so much for hanging out with me. Today, we are going to be talking about the overachievers, the underachievers, and the kind of in-betweeners here with the Flames forward group. I think that the Flames have a very distinct difference in their forward groups. Yesterday, we talked about the young guys, and today we're going to spend some time talking about, Jonathan Huberdeau, Nazem Kadri, and Captain Mikael Backlund, as well as some others. Make sure you are subscribed to Locked On Flames wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We're here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. Your team every day. And let's dive right into this. You guys know, if you have listened to this show over the past 3 seasons, you know that I have been critical of Jonathan Huberdeau, but not to the point where it's not excessive. I think that for me personally, I like to factor in outside sources when establishing and dissecting a player's performance, and playing in the exact opposite environment of Florida, it took a toll on him, and there a huge difference in systems as well. But I love talking about Jonathan Huberdeau. I love it. He is such an interesting player, and I'm fascinated by his success this season. And I said it over the summer. I said it took Blake Coleman 3 seasons to get really comfortable in Calgary, and he had a career year. I don't think Jonathan Huberdeau is going to have a career year, but you just have to notice those kinds of patterns and kind of play off of them. And for the fact that Jonathan Huberdeau has 21 goals this season, uh, can we just give this man his flowers? I understand he makes $10.5 million and that he should be scoring 30 plus goals, but you know what? This has not been easy for him. And it's not like the Flames have a roster full of high-end talent like Florida had. And, there's a big difference when you're passing to, Matt Coronado versus like Sasha Barkov. Like, you there is a lot of difference there. And he has 20 assists. I just 41 points in 55 games has me elated. I think that this is the Huberdeau that everyone has been expecting, everyone has wanted. He leads the team with 7 power play goals. I am here for it. What I am not here for are his turnovers. We saw this in the 2 games prior to the break. Turnovers are bad, unless you're getting them from the bakery. But you don't want to be turning the puck over and be a liability in that aspect. And there have been a few costly turnovers in his game, and I think that that's really, I guess, like my biggest issue. One of my favorite performances was his 4-point night against the Philadelphia Flyers at the home opener. Just an electric game. It just a great performance, and I think that, helped set the tone for the season we were going to get from Huberdeau. And could we also have a certain center to consider here? We know that Nazem Kadri was a huge helping hand in Connor Zary and Martin Pospisil's development last year. And I think that Kadri has the ability to make good players better. it takes, not everyone can adjust and find chemistry and communicate like that. And you also have to take your wingers into consideration too. But Kadri has done a fantastic job this season as well. 19 goals, 21 assists. He moves up and down that ice like he is just skating on air. He is just having the time of his life. And we've seen how great the skill is, whether it's his quick hands, the shots, the playmaking, a good backhand, or just jumping over people and dangling them. Like, sure, why not? I think that one of my favorite assets of Kadri is his ability to lead. We saw it a lot last year, and we've seen it this year too. Him taking a moment when, his line mates are back on the ice and kind of reviewing film or a sequence or something on the iPad, and going into it and saying, "Hey, what if we approached it this way instead?" Or "Let's try this next time," or "Hey, that was really good. Let's try it again." And I think that in-game um coachability and leadership it's huge. And I understand why people want to trade him. I get it. I think, it makes complete sense to me, especially if you are team rebuild. And he you can't always I cannot stand when people say, "Well, he's a great leader. That's why you can't trade him. It's the intangibles." Like, to me, I think that that's oftentimes an excuse that um people use for like declining veterans. And that's not Kadri. Kadri is still very effective. But I do like that level of leadership he brings to the team, how he has taken the younger players like Pospisil, like Zary. He had a good friendship with Pelletier and really nurtured them and mentored them, and that's huge. That's not always something you see, and you get. Everyone's different. Every locker room is different, and I think that the Flames are very lucky to have the room that they have. And especially during these challenging times, I'm sure no one wants to be losing night after night. But coming up next, we are going to take a look at Michael Backlund's backslide, decline, whatever you want to call it, and Blake Coleman in his 4th season here with the Flames. Coming up next. If you're like me, you absolutely love to snack, and you love snacking on things that are good for you. And I love wonderful pistachios. For me, I love being able to have them at my desk when I'm at work or here when I'm recording and outlining and getting your Flames podcast together for you. Just packed with protein to keep me going, keep me fully fueled and energized. Wonderful Pistachio is the pistachio snack for you. They are one of the highest protein nuts, in each one ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Get snacking and cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more today. That's wonderfulpistachios.com. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. Make sure you are subscribed wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We're here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. Your Calgary Flames every day. And let's dive into this, because this can be a touchy subject. I understand. You don't want to talk about your longest tenured Flame, especially your captain. aging. There's no other way to put it besides aging. And I, with Mikael Backlund, I do have a lot of respect for him. I think that he is a player that has taken on a lot of responsibility during a very difficult time. He has played through the many ups and downs of the Flames and, you know, did so in uh an elegant manner. And the fact that he was pretty underrated for most of his career, as well as a with his defensive abilities. And I guess it's one of those things, like, I don't believe your captain should be your best player. And I understand why they made Backlund captain. I do, because I think it would be a crazy optics move to make Mackenzie Weegar your captain, who was like fresh blood in Calgary at that point. And you're really just gonna sign this guy to a contract and not name him captain? Crazy stuff there. But I did want to just kind of talk about his regression in all facets of his game. My biggest issue here is that he is leading the team in time on ice. 19 minutes a night. Unacceptable for a 35-year-old who is playing the way Backlund is to be leading your team in time on ice. This feels very like Jeff Ward era coaching style, like nepotism. And there I'm not Mikael Backlund is a great hockey player, but he is not the player that should be leading your team in time on ice. And I think that, you have to let this go with some dignity. His shooting percentage is down from where it has been. And I am very I just you need to score. Like, the things that the Flames have issues with is scoring and generating consistent offense. So I don't think that your leading time on ice player should be afraid to shoot the puck and hesitant to shoot the puck. And this is from the win column, written by one of their new contributors, Simon. He was able to put the some tables together, and I find them fascinating. I like when you can see information like this displayed out and it makes sense. Backlund had been one of the better defensive centers in hockey for a long time. He had around the same number of takeaways in 2023 compared to previous years, but he was on the ice for significantly more goals against. In fact, it was his highest goals against per 60 has been his entire career. The only time he'd been close to that mark was back in 2017, 2018. Knowing Backlund's regular patterns, it should have been expected that he would bounce back, but as you can see, that wouldn't be the case. He would match his own previous career high on ice goals against per 60 and see a drop in takeaways as well. Takeaways are obviously a huge part of the game, especially someone that is a coveted center like Backlund that plays a good defensive game. This season, through 82 games, nope, through 52 games, he has 28 takeaways and is on the ice for his on ice goals against per 60 is 3.5. Last season was 3.6 over 82 games. I don't necessarily enjoy this. I think if he's going to be your second line center, you need to have him playing like a second line center. And I am looking forward to Zari's return, because I don't think that Backlund should be your second line center. Real quick here, I do want to talk about Blake Coleman. It's a very similar situation. I don't think Blake Coleman should be your on your second line. It just does not make sense to me. He's 33 years old. There are ways to adjust your lines, and I just personally think favoring the veterans over younger players is something that's going to happen in every organization, and it drives me bonkers because I do feel like Coleman is not reaching the same level of play as he was, and that's normal. That is so normal. He's 33 years old. He is on the wrong side of 30. But I will give him a lot of credit. He is coming off a 30-goal season from last year, and obviously he's not seeing that this year. He has 12 goals. So I will say it is not for a lack of trying. He is second in the team in shots with 133 behind Kadri, who is 183. So that's a big discrepancy too. Something that needs to be addressed, but he is trying. He makes the effort. And for me, Blake Coleman as your second line on your second line is a cause for a little bit of a concern. It is a red flag to me. I think that while that position has been earned, I do think that Backlund and Coleman make a better third line. And I miss Mangiapane because that line was so fun. But I do think it is a matter of Connor Zary coming back. And you're going to see some shifts in the lineup. And it is what it is there. You know, you can't always orchestrate and put together a perfect roster when one of your top scorers is out for over a month at this point. But coming up next, we will wrap up the show with some conversation about depth pieces like Sharon Govich, Ryan Lomberg, and Kevin Rooney, who I know is a hot button subject. So let's keep this thing rolling here at Locked On Flames. Looking to optimize your nutrition this year? Factor makes eating well easy with chef prepared, dietitian approved meals that are fresh, never frozen, and ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes. With over 40 options across 8 dietary preferences every week, you can customize your meals to fit your lifestyle. Whether it is Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. Plus, Factor even offers wholesome smoothies, breakfast, and grab-and-go snacks to keep you fueled all day long. I am all about convenience. I'm all about making the right decisions to fuel my body, and Factor is a, major factor. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/LockedOnNHL50off and use code LockedOnNHL50off to get 50% off of your first box plus free shipping. That's code LockedOnNHL50off at factormeals.com/LockedOnNHL50off to get 50% off of plus free shipping on your first box. Thanks everyone for tuning into today's episode of Locked On Flames and making the show part of your day. I greatly appreciate it. It's not lost on me that it's been 5 years of hosting this show, and I love it more and more every day, and grateful for the little community that we have cultivated here at Locked On Flames. With this, I do want to say a fourth line is not out there scoring like your top line. Their goal isn't to necessarily score. We've seen the shift in responsibilities of the fourth line, but that doesn't necessarily mean everyone's at that same learning curve, adjustment period. Or they might not want to play like that. They might not. I mean, it's silly, but you are Sharangovich. This obviously he's not playing on the fourth line, but he is one of the depth pieces here in Calgary, and he over the summer signed a 5-year extension with the Flames after a career year, another 30-plus goal season for Sharangovich, and this year started off kind of on the wrong foot. He started the season injured, missed a few games, and really, I don't want to say he struggled getting back into things, but there were definitely times where there was a little bit of streakiness, and that's to be expected. I mean, you miss preseason, you miss camp, you miss getting into that same in-season competitiveness mode as your other teammates, and you're just kind of a little bit behind. He is second in the team with power play goals, right behind his best friend, Jonathan Huberdeau. He is 5, and I hope this kid does well. You know, I think he's very easy to root for. He's fun. He plays well. It's just, you know, it's kind of unrealistic to expect him to be your top line winger for another full season. I think that Matt Coronado is your right choice, and if you were to play Zary on wing, probably put him there. But I need to preface this because I don't want anyone getting the wrong idea. I understand the fourth line is the fourth line. They are not out there to break open a game. They're not out there to have skilled hands that looks like Connor McDavid or anything like that out there. Their job is to kill time and to go out there and chuck their bodies around and play a more defensive game. And Ryan Lomberg, I think that he is a good personality add to the Flames. I think that, again, another player that truly embodies what it means to be a Flame, undrafted, signed with the Flames, then went to Florida, won a Stanley Cup, and now he's back in Calgary. Lomberg is not offensively inclined. This is going to sound very bad. His contributions greatly remind me of Milan Lucic's time at the end with the Flames. He was just out there skating. He was doing cardio. I think Ryan Lomberg does provide a little bit more than just that, but it is very reminiscent. And I'm just congrats, you add toughness to the lineup. Like that's the other thing too, because he's the only one that responded after Kevin Ball's hit. But you got to do more than that. I think that if you want to go as far as to say, you know, you're talking about players taking up spots from young kids, I would much rather see one of the younger Flames, one of the baby Flames playing in the NHL right now. And Kevin Rooney, Roon Dog, the one, the only Kevin Rooney from Canton, Massachusetts. Oh, Kevin. So Kevin Rooney had a good camp. Was pretty decent. Kind of figured he was going to start the season on a line with Jacob Pelletier because they played very well together last season. Did not happen. And then, like, the first shift, Kevin Rooney gets, like, absolutely clobbered by JT Miller. and he's out. He is concussed beyond belief. Comes back. He does struggle a little bit, but again, a fourth liner's role is team dependent, and we know that the Flames' fourth line is just kind of there. I think it's kind of hypocritical to be harsh on harsh on Kevin Rooney for not putting up numbers, but you're okay with Ryan Lomberg because it's Ryan Lomberg. I don't know. It feels very strange to me. I think that Kevin Rooney is a very solid penalty killer, and I think that he is fine at the faceoff dot. Would I like to see Rory Kearns in? Yes, I would. I truly would. And I'm saying this as someone who actively roots for Kevin Rooney, but I want to see Rory Kearns. And if that means Rooney has to sit out a game or two more, then so be it. Always wishing nothing but the best for players of this team, but sometimes there has to be a change. And I do think keeping him in is important because when you lost Jacob Pelletier, you lost another solid penalty killer. So you have to think of that too. But a lot to think about when it comes to this veteran group and the depth and how you can construct a better lineup. And thank you for making Locked On Flames part of your day. As always, I'm your host, Jess Belmosto, and make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We're here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your team every day. And make sure you stay warm, stay dry, stay cool, stay hydrated, and remember to be kind.